What's up, everyone? Video's finally here. This car is finally, hopefully, going to start after 4 years of sitting. But here is officially my 1994 Toyota Supra. This car started its life as a original left-hand drive automatic non-turbo vehicle, which is also a hardtop. So it's pretty cool. You don't see those often these days. And it eventually ended up becoming a NAT vehicle. So I acquired this car in 2010 from my uncle. He acquired it in 2005. I think he was the third owner or something like that. But it was originally Renaissance red. Got in a little accident back in like 2006 in this area right here. So the door, the front fender, the bumper, and a little bit of the quarter panel was affected. Got the whole car repainted in kinetic blue pearl, and that's what it's been since 2006. Again, I acquired it in 2010, and in 2011, I was a 19-year-old kid, and I took whatever money I had left, and I bought this excess power turbo kit and converted this car into NAT. So to go with the clickbait title, yes, it's been neglected. Unfortunately, it's been neglected by me. Just had a lot going on in my life the past 5-6 years, but hopefully, again, we're gonna see this car running. A little bit about the car though. Let's get some background information. Again, 2JZ, this is the third engine that was in here. This engine just randomly locked up on me. I think what happened was my injector number 6 gave out, starved cylinder number 6. I had the cylinder head off. You can tell it's barely on right now, just so I could pull this engine out. But cylinder 6 was all scored up, and I was just driving on the highway one day, completely fine, did a little pull, was getting off the exit, car shut off completely, went to go turn the engine and it would not turn, it was locked up. A few hours later, I went, cut the timing belt, and the engine started spinning again from the bottom end, so I think after it cooled down, it started moving, but that's what happened. This was back in 2017. Took the car halfway apart, and it's just life. I was in college, and I got a job, and COVID happened, and the car's just been sitting since then. So I'll show you a little bit around the car. It's been here at the shop for about a year now. COVID put a big halt to it. It was taken apart a lot, and then COVID happened. I've had these plates for a while, but original tail lights from '94. I like the black look over the gray look. My plates since 2010. Need some body work done. You can tell it's really dusty right now. It's the dark charcoal blue, whatever interior you want to call it. Had the factory rear leather, seen better days, but has that. Interior overall isn't too bad. Has some carbon fiber door panels because the door panel got damaged in that accident, and the carbon fiber ones were cheaper at the time. Probably still are, to be honest. The door panels are kind of expensive on these things. So the carbon fiber looks pretty cool. Again, factory NA on factory transmission still. The A340E from the NAs, they're okay. I had the shims accumulated on this to make the shifting a little better. I have a little boost gauge in place of the factory clock. My friend had to borrow this to test out his AC module, so he's got to give that back to me. Still got the factory radio in here. Yeah, the interior overall is in good shape. And of course, there's no battery power in here, but the mileage on the car was about 118 slowly, so probably around like 120, I believe, total mileage on this car. I've got my Innovate fuel ratio gauge right here, kind of low key. I always like that spot. I just cut into the dashboard a little bit. If I went back in time, I probably would just put it right here and not cut into my dash, but it works out. And if you've never sat inside a Supra before, the awesome Pilot cockpit is what made this car, in my opinion. Just the interior is beautiful on this. Driving this thing is awesome. If you've never driven a Supra or inside a Supra, it's a beautiful ride. Beautiful. It's a little messy back here, but this is a sub I installed. I think this came out of like a truck. Back seat of like a extended cab truck. Works pretty well. It was more than enough than what I needed for this car. Here's a timing belt I cut off on my engine blue. For those of you who don't have a hardtop vehicle, you have the Targa storage over here. If you have a hardtop, they don't have the Targa storage. Instead, they give me these little clips and this cover, so when the trunk is closed, no one can see inside your trunk for all your valuables. Plus, I got some tints on this windshield, but you can't see inside there, so I thought that was pretty cool. Fun fact about hardtop Supras: a Targa top Supra has a flat Targa. Hardtop adds this little crease onto the body lines. I always love that about the hardtop. And then if I had the hood on here, the crease kind of follows the hood crease. Always like that. Body wise, the body's in pretty good shape. There's not really any structural damage on the vehicle, but again, the paint's really old. One time the car was sitting outside under a tree and a bunch of squirrels dropped these big old acorn looking things all on the car, cracked the windshield, made a few dents on the roof. Can't tell right now because of the dust, and I was really sad about that. Luckily, most of the damage was on the hood. That's where most of the acorns went, and obviously a hood is replaceable. Hood's back there somewhere. But yeah, I do want to do some body work on this thing. Strip everything down, do a correct paint job. I do like blue. I want to keep it blue. Overall, the body's in pretty good shape. Any good body work person would probably bring this back to life real quick. Got the infamous rust on the hatch. That's not from sitting around. This is from commenting on Supras. But hopefully the body will be revived on this car. The rear end, though, man, the Supras are the sexiest from the back, in my opinion. Got some wheel spacers for these wheels. These are the twin turbo wheels. Got rid of the NA ones a while ago. Gonna put some 275s on here. And let me know in the comments below, what color should I go? Should I keep it blue? Should I just sand it down, do some body work and wrap it a different color? What do you all think? So to talk about the build that was on here, the previous build, it was just a factory 2JZ back in 2011 when I turboed it. So factory head gasket, factory fuel. I just slapped on the excess power turbo kit. Had about $2,300 into the kit. It wasn't too bad for when I was 19 years old. And it made 336 real horsepower at 8 PSI off the gate. Then I upped the PSI to 12 PSI and was kind of running out of fuel on the factory setup. Eventually I ended up melting some pistons because I think I ran a little lean. Then put a second engine in here. In the second engine, I took the engine apart. You can see I painted the block. I added a twin turbo head gasket to drop the compression down a little bit. Added some fuel injectors, upped the PSI again like 13 or 14 at that time, and had a little more power with the car. Just felt a little better when I did that. This turbo is the original turbo. Probably has like 15,000 miles on it. It's seen better days for a Korean or whatever China turbo that excess power uses. Got some shaft play up and down, got some shaft play side to side, but it still held boost. I mean, for what it was cool. It's time to replace this, obviously, when the engine's gonna go back together. So I have a new turbo. Let me know what turbo you all recommend. I always like hearing inputs, thinking of like a precision dual ball bearing, but let me know what you all recommend. For tuning, this car started off with an SAFC. That's my turbo timer. Oh, there it is. So I had an SAFC 3 in here, then I ended up putting SAFC 2 so I could use 2 maps. I believe this had the 2 map option. The MAF was giving me problems because I had it, I think, on the intake side, and every time the blow-off valve went off, I would want to stall. So then I moved the blow-off valve to the charge pipe, and that was obviously restrictive. So I eventually got the HKS VPC, the main pressure controller. So this car is running off a MAP sensor. Got rid of the factory MAF that the NAs came with, the Carmen Vortex, whatever you call it. So that's what I was tuned on, and it worked pretty well. I was limited with the fueling just because I didn't really have a good fuel pump in the back, but it made about I would say 350 to the wheels easily, and it was fun to ride around. This time around, I do want to go standalone, and I heard about that new thing, EMU Black. I think that came out recently. Been out of the Supra game for a while, so I was thinking about checking out the EMU Black. Definitely want to upgrade the fueling insanely on this car, just because these cars are really capable. Just add some good fueling. I want to get rid of that distributor. I want to go coil on plug, and I think you can do that with EMU Black or maybe AEM. I don't know, but definitely want to go that route this time around. So let me know suggestions, guys. I would love for YouTube to help me out with this build. Been out of the game for a little bit, so turbo ideas, transmission ideas, etc. And speaking of transmissions, I do actually want to convert this car to a 6-speed. Was it Granis Racing T56 kit is what I was looking at. I want to spend like 6 to 10K, just completely redo the rear end, get some awesome gearing with the Ford rear end, get that T56 6-speed, and I just think that would be awesome for this car to go through. I was also thinking some TH400 stuff. I always like the TH400, but we'll see where we go with that. But yeah, this is my Supra. Please stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to be ripping this engine apart. I got a new engine ready to go with some refreshed rings in there. The cylinders have been honed out. Got new bearings in there, just factory bearings, but they're new. It's all refreshed. And yeah, the front mount came with that kit. It's been on here for a while, so kind of want to upgrade that too. Let it fill up the bumper a little more. Thank you for watching, everyone. Helpful car tips bring this poor Supra back to life. And I will see everyone in the next video. Till next time, peace.